Hello, void dwellers. When people see my videos against antisemitism or my posts about what is happening in Israel, they tend to think that I'm politically on the right. And I get why that is. It's part of the divide and conquer that is being pushed at us with this nonsense of the division to left and right. It's so ridiculous. Let me tell you, when I moved to the UK, I knew very little about the inner politics of the country. And one day I saw this image from a demonstration in Northern Ireland where they burned the Palestinian flag. And I asked a colleague, what's that about? What did the Palestinians ever do to the Irish? And he said, oh, no, they're just unionists. And seeing the completely vacant look in my eyes, he went on and said, well, they support North Ireland staying in the Union rather than becoming part of the Republic of Ireland. And the funny thing, he said it as if, well, that explains everything completely. No further explanation needed. Well, further explanation was needed. After some more prodding, turns out there's this apparently division where the people who are pro-Ireland tend to be pro-Palestine and the people who are unionists tend to be pro-Israeli. And I cannot express how fucking deeply stupid that is. I can guarantee to all of you Irish people out there that not the Israelis nor the Palestinians know anything about you. I'm betting everything I own that if you do a poll amongst both Israelis and Palestinians, a huge majority would think that Northern Ireland is just referring to the north of the island that we call Ireland. Not because they have any political preference about it, just because they know nothing about it. And from what I learned since I moved to the UK, you guys know very little about our conflict too. So what the fuck are you even doing? The thing is that the media and social media have turned politics into a football club. And you have to follow the rules of the club to belong. If you are on the right, you are pro-Israeli, you hate poor people and Muslims, and you think everything can be solved with a bomb. And if you're on the left, you are pro-Palestinian, you think rich people and Jews should be harvested for parts, and you think that the most horrible extremist terrorist organizations that target specifically children are poor freedom fighters who should be cradled and tickled in the bellies. And that's it. Stop all thinking. Don't doubt anything, don't ask questions, or you're out. And I'm not even joking. You won't believe the number of times people have said to me, how dare you call yourself a leftist? Or you are just a woke leftist and you don't know shit. That's why when asked where I am on the political spectrum, I usually say that I'm on my own spectrum, okay? The Raz spectrum. Because for leftists, I'm a militant right-winger, and for right-wingers, I'm woke. And to me, both sides are equally fucking ridiculous. Now, in an amazing coincidence, Jimmy the Giant, one of my favorite British YouTubers, has just released a video about his own journey from what is being referred to as the alt-right to a more leftist point of view. I saw it and I thought, oh fuck, people are going to think that I'm doing what he's doing because it's kind of the same topic. But I can prove that I've been working on this script for several days now, as I just said in a comment yesterday when I had no idea that this video is coming. So it is really just a coincidence, but it's a happy coincidence, a very happy one, because he gives a very detailed demonstration of the journey of a young, impressionable person through this football club mentality. And how they use these trigger words and slogans to get you and wrap you in this no thinking is necessary or allowed kind of atmosphere. Just join the club. Here's the mascot. Here's your page of messages. Off you go. And yeah, the left and the right are doing the exact same thing. Jimmy has re-examined his beliefs and because he saw patterns, because he came across facts that simply did not go hand in hand with the narrative. Now he ends the video with two conclusions that I don't agree with. One is that crime in society is only motivated by economics, which is simply factually false. To give an obvious example, serial killing is not motivated by economics. Sexually motivated crimes are not something that only happens in poor regions. So, no, economical motivated crime exists, of course, but it's only one type of it. But his second conclusion that is more relevant to this video is that it kinda implies only the right does it, this tribal football club thinking. But no, it's the current left as well. And if you take their arguments and dissect them, you'll find a lot of holes there too. So you may rightly ask, well, why does the title of this video say that I'm still on the left? Well, because of some core values that I do believe the left holds. The real, actual left. And I can't express how much I do not mean the fake current left. I do not mean the totalitarians, terror supporters, and evil loud cunts that took over the left. I mean the real left. Let me explain. Sometimes I'm asked by people if I would go on a live chat with one of those right-wingers, alt-right on YouTube. And I always say no. And the reason is that I do not feel comfortable to contribute my voice in many of those channels, and yes, even though they are usually very pro-Israel, because I am not comfortable with some of their other messages, specifically their Islamophobia and generalization against Muslims. They always make fun of Islam. They make disparaging remarks about Muslims, and they identify all practitioners of that religion with Islamists and extremists. And they would try to prove the Quran is evil by taking things out of context or just sticking to the interpretation that serves their small point, even though there are many other interpretations. As if I can't quote you horrible passages from any ancient text, including the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament. And they would show some Islamist extremist preaching about something horrible, and they would say, that's what Muslims actually think. Really? There are 2 billion Muslims. You checked all of them? Or maybe you didn't have time to check all of them. You checked half? How about a third? No? Then how the fuck do you know? This tactic that they use is the same tactic that is used against us by anti-Semites. They also would take things from the Torah or the Talmud out of context to prove how evil we are. Or they would show you some nutbag settler saying some awful shit, and they would say, there you have it. This guy is second only to Netanyahu, and this is what he says, so all Jews are evil. When in reality, this guy is considered a lunatic by 99% of Israelis and has like 500 followers. And these anti-Islam groups are doing the exact same thing, just to other people. And I cannot and I will not join them in that. I've known Muslims all my life. I've worked with Muslims. There are Muslims peace activists out there. There are Muslims who identify as Zionists. And then there are just, regular people with no political affiliation, just born into the culture and living their lives and want to be good people and nothing more. Now, that doesn't mean there are no Islamists. That's again this tribalism I'm talking about. For the right, all Muslims are Islamists. And for the left, well, they've never seen or heard of an Islamist in their lives. Like I said, both sides are fucking ridiculous. Yes, there are Islamists. Yes, they are a danger. But they are just as much a danger to moderate Muslims as they are to us. And look, I'm an atheist, and I think the world would be better off without religion. So I'm not going not to criticize Islam or Christianity or Judaism for that matter. I certainly will. I do also have a problem with the way Christianity and Islam both plagiarized Jewish culture and then turned us into the villains. But I'll criticize the ideas and the history as I perceive it. I won't go after religious people or try to make them abandon their religion by making fun of them. And even as I criticize it, I would try to do it from a place of respect and with a touch of humility. Because I understand that I am not the center of the universe, and I would like to leave room for others to express themselves. And I don't always succeed in that. In fact, I'd say I fail quite often. But that's what I aspire to do. So I won't participate in mocking or vilifying. And there's a difference between criticizing and vilifying, as I keep trying to explain to the anti-Israel crowd. Think about it this way. I think that the hijab is nothing more than patriarchal shackles. Same as the Jewish head cover, by the way. It's laws that were made by primitive men designed to diminish the woman so they won't feel threatened by her. So I find it horrible that I see now people use it as a sign of freedom. But I would never make anyone feel bad for wearing it, and I would never support any law that bans it or anything like that. I have my opinion, but I'm not the center of the universe. Everybody else is entitled to their opinion, and even more to the point, their choice. Look, when I was 8 years old, my grandfather told me about an incident that happened when he was 6 years old in Berlin. He was playing with a friend on the street, and suddenly a window opens above their heads, and the friend's mom pops out and she shouts to the other boy, "Jonas, stop playing with the dirty Jew and come home." And the other boy just left and went home. And my grandfather spent the evening injuring himself in the bathtub because he was trying to scrape away whatever it was that they saw and he couldn't see that made him dirty. And he looked down at me and he said, "Don't you ever make anyone feel like that." And I swore that I won't. And throughout my life, I made every effort to keep my word. So why am I on the left? Because I believe in the same values that the true left was pushing in my lifetime. The values that become common Western values. No to racism, no to generalization, no to discrimination based on anything but the person's own choices. I don't care who you sleep with, what God you worship, what gender you identify as, what tattoo you have, what is the color of your skin or the color of your hair. I care about the color of your soul. And of course, I'm using that word as a metaphor, so we are all on the same page. Plus, I believe in social services and free housing and free education, including university. Now, I know my American viewers are probably having an aneurysm right now, but these are real things that some European countries actually have. And yeah, I believe that's what the state should provide its people through the combined effort of all of us. And of course, I believe in free Medicare. So I'm leftist by those standards too. And I'm not going to pretend I don't believe in those things and hang out with, American Psycho-style Wall Street boys just because the media calls a bunch of dumb fucking lunatics the left. And you know why they're doing it, right? Because they are those dumb fucking lunatics as well. The left has been taken away from the sane and rational liberals, and it is now being identified with those loudmouth morons who are totalitarians and terror supporters and just deeply, deeply evil and stupid. And to me, that's one of the worst things that could have happened to the Western world. That's a real danger because of two things. On one hand, they bring Islamists into the center of all of our main systems, specifically media, academia, government. And then the result is that people are flocking to the right. And I happen to remember where that leads. That guy in the Netherlands, Geert Wilders, that's a guy who said he would ban mosques in the Netherlands. I cannot believe Jews support him. How fucking stupid do you need to be? You don't know what kind of people he attracts? You need another lesson? You don't realize that when they are finished with the Muslims, they'll turn on us? They just view the Muslims as a more pressing issue because there are more of them now. Not because they love us, but they fall for it because he waves an Israeli flag. And that's another thing. That's the branding problem that the right is causing us. Because you won't believe how many people came to me in the last year and said that they secretly support Israel, but they don't want people to think that they are far right. Which is the point I started with, this football club mentality. So aside from still believing in leftist values, I am also still on the left because I want the left back. For the sake of all of Western society, I want the left back. And the first step is to show people that you don't need to follow the tribe blindly. That there are different flavors. That you can be pro-Israel, pro-the West, and yes, anti-racism and generalization. You can be anti-religion and still respect religious followers. That the values of the left are not this cancel culture and totalitarianism. Don't say what we don't like or you'll be ruined for life. That's not the left. That's not liberalism. That's fascism. The real left believes in communication, in the exchange of ideas, even ideas that are hard to swallow. That's the point of a progressive society. Progressive thought cannot develop when you stifle people with fear. The real left believes in Western values, human rights, women's rights, gay rights, secularism, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, progressive thought, science, technology, all those good things that our side brought to the game. We need it back. And anyone who believes in those values should also believe in Israel and Zionism, because Jewish self-determination is a basic human right. You can't be a humanist and not believe in that. Because Israel, while flawed, like every other country, is still a modern Western democracy which celebrates those values. Because we had Arab Muslim ministers, and we have Muslims, Christians, and Druze members of parliament. Whereas at our neighbors, there used to be 1.2 million Jews, and now there are none. Forget positions of power, Jews can't even walk there without being murdered on the spot. Because there's a pride parade every year in Tel Aviv that kicks pride parades in major cities in the ass in terms of fun and color, and at our neighbors, they throw you off a roof. Because in Israel, I can be an atheist and feel safe to speak out about it, and at our neighbors, well, they throw you off a roof, or they hang you, or whatever, depending on the country. Because in Israel, you can criticize the government and make fun of them and call them any name you want, and you have a right to do that by law. And at our neighbors, you get the picture. What I'm saying is that I'm in the left because I believe in leftist values, because I want to show people that the real original left is still here and that we can take our voices back, and because my country was born from these leftist values. So anyone who doesn't want to be associated with those loudmouth, evil, terror-supporting morons on the current fake left, and at the same time doesn't believe in the values or madness of the right, how about joining me in this classic left? Or we can call it the sane left, or we can come up with something completely different. I don't know, we can call ourselves the New West, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, let's call ourselves Gondor, okay? I don't know, I don't care. Come up with a definition, let me know about it. The point is, we're here, and we exist, and we have a voice. And I believe that we are far bigger than it seems at the moment.